75,000 people are driven from their homes each year, and 127 people are killed from floods. That's an average. On an average for tornadoes, about 60 people each year are killed. On an average for hurricanes, however, about 6 disturbances reach the hurricane level, and about anywhere from 50 to 100 people can die, and only about 2 of them reach the U.S., but they usually are very dramatic hurricanes. CNN.com says that 117 people were killed in the Joplin, Missouri tornado that happened this year in 2011. It is called the single deadliest tornado, and about $3 billion worth of damage, dollars worth of damage. And you know, you can tell how, looking at the pictures and stuff, it's so dramatic, looking at all that rubble and looking at all the lives that were lost, and we don't know a dead count for a while. But there are precautions you can take in case of a tornado. First of all, you can take shelter in any kind of shelter, whether it be in your home or outside. Outside shelters can include trying to outrun a tornado, which isn't really the best idea to do, because you have to pretty much know where the tornado is going to outrun it. And absolutely do not go under an overpass to try to hide from the tornado. That can block other traffic, and it can also, you know, if the bridge crumbles, then it can be deadly to you. The safest place if you're outside is to find a building, which if there's no building around, try to find a ditch to lie in. That's probably your safest bet with a tornado that's strong. Weather radios, emergency kits. Emergency kits can have flashlights, changes of clothes, food, extra batteries, medicines, any kind of that. If your children have safety helmets, those can be good for debris that are falling. Safety helmets are probably the best thing for them to prevent head injuries. For a shelter inside your house, however, for inside the house, you want a central area of the house on the ground floor, and you want to be away from windows. You want to, basically a room without windows would probably be best. Bathrooms are usually good. If they're not in the inner part of the house, maybe a closet that's in the middle of the house would be the best place to stay. Have a plan with your family each year to go through this plan and simulate that there's a tornado, and gather all of your stuff and go to your shelter place and practice it at least once a year is probably the best deal. If there's a tornado and you guys end up getting separated, the best thing to do is probably have a meeting place somewhere like away from the shelter houses that you can all meet afterwards, so you know that everybody's okay and that everybody is safe. Just keeping, you know, touch with the radios and stuff will help you know what the best precautions are to take. The Missouri River, we had problems flooding this year. The Missouri River flooded for months. Started, I think in May is when the Missouri River started flooding, and it was building, just started recently going down. It's October now, and it's just starting to go down. It's not down real low yet, but it's past flood stage, I think. So, about $1 billion cost in levee and dam repairs, and I-29 was completely destroyed. They say they're estimating about November 2012 till it's completely redone. That's over a year for them to do that. Reuters.com is who says this. But if there is a flood, you know, Kansas has kind of a flood level. It's mainly the Missouri River that's flooding, or, you know, around White Cloud and Missouri and all that kind of stuff. Know where the shelters are for floods in case a flood would happen, and you need to get to a flood shelter. It's probably, you know, most communities have flood shelters, and if it is a highly flooded area, keep your car fueled in case you need to go somewhere before a flood happens, and that sometimes gas stations may not be open. Stock up on food and keep that with you. Insurance offers flood coverage for houses. If you get this flood coverage, it can probably help you after floods if it's really bad. While a flood is happening, or if you're getting ready right before a flood happens, you want to you get out as quick as possible. Drive where the flood would not be, drive away from it. Don't take shortcuts. You never know if the flood has breached that shortcut or not. Do not drive into flooded areas. It can easily stall your car or take you down. It can control your car, and your car, you're going to be stuck. Do not try to swim in the water. It can be dangerous. You could easily drown in flood water. And watch for poisonous snakes. I mean, really, in the Missouri River, we don't have much problems with snakes and poisonous creatures if it floods, but you just want to be careful. I know in Florida areas, or the Gulf of Mexico, they watch for alligators. Alligators can wash up with the floodwaters. So you just want to make sure that you take precautions if you're in a highly flooded area that happens so often, and usually you know if you are in that area or not. CheapInsuranceHeadquarters.com, 2005 Hurricane Katrina is probably the most dramatic hurricane we've had in years. I mean, it's made history, definitely. $93.2 billion worth of damage. Houses completely gone from that area. You never know I don't even know if they're done rebuilding it. It's just so awful. More than 1,500 people died in that hurricane. It was in Louisiana, New Orleans actually, and it was one of the biggest tornadoes we've ever had. It hit, I think, hit Florida, I believe, or around Florida at a Category 3 hurricane. For hurricanes, Kansas, we don't have really any problems with hurricane issues. But mainly, like, say if you're traveling, for example, and you go to Florida, then you're going to want to make sure you know what to do if a hurricane would happen while you're on vacation. I know that happened this summer. Some people in North Carolina traveling, hurricane happened, and they had to know what to do. You want to evacuate quickly as possible. Hurricanes could be moving fast speeds, could be moving at slow speeds, but you want to make sure you're out of there so you're ahead of it and you're not stuck behind. You want to stay away from windows. If you stay in your house, you want to make sure you're on high levels, stay away from windows, stay above flood level, make sure you're elevated off sea level, and stay away from windows because they could get blown out by high excessive winds. You want to make sure that if you're in your house, to stay out of rooms that have large tree branches above the roof. So if wind damage would happen to cause those tree branches to snap, you don't want to get hit in the head by a big tree. You'd probably die. So you want to stay out of those rooms. Also, tornadoes are very common with hurricanes, and hurricane is basically a big, humongous tornado. In my opinion, that's how I see it. So make sure that you know tornado precautions as well as flood precautions, because they kind of mix in together. So as long as you know those, you should be fine. Again, Kansas, Midwest, we don't have hurricane issues. At the very most, we get maybe a little bit of rain on the outside of the hurricane. That was about it. No excessive winds or anything. Just want to make sure that whether you're in a tornado or in a flood or in a hurricane on vacation, you just want to make sure you know these precautions ahead of time and you practice them with your family as much as possible. Staying away from these natural disasters and knowing about them and knowing what causes them and how to protect yourself from them is very, very crucial in making sure that you can save all your valuables and you can save your life, your family's life, other people's lives. Again, these happen every year. We have at least one of these natural disasters, along with others, including like snowstorms, which I hadn't got into, but a lot of different various types of natural disasters happen. So you want to make sure you just know all those, and emergency kits and all of them, weather radios and all of them, safe shelter houses and all of them. You just want to know about each and every one. Thank you.